Good day, too, for us. Feel like we're able to get better again, man. And really excited about the picks we had. Trey and Jamaree, two guys that, again, there was a lot of excitement from the scouts and coaches when the opportunity to pick those players. Both questions?
Just starting with Trey for both of you, just how do you see him fitting into the passing game?
Yeah, and I just want to say what Joe was saying there. When I've never seen the incredible alignment throughout the organization. Every single one of our picks walked out of the draft room, and offensive coaches were excited about the offensive players that were picked, and equally excited about the defensive pick. The defensive coaches were raving about the offensive picks, and they were really excited about Jamaree as well. It's that was really cool. You know, Navarro Bowman talking about Amarion Hampton, and Mike Devlin, a big fist bump, you know, for Jamaree Caldwell. You know, that run wall that we have, and Trey Harris was. I mean, our coaches, our scouts, in complete alignment. I mean, Joe predicted it yesterday. It was just it was great to add. So Trey in particular, strong, tough, really good route runner, scores the ball. You know, of all the receivers in college football, you know, for a career, he's 29, up there. You know, maybe third highest of all receivers, and precision route running. You know, really, kind of a really good for us. So yeah, weapons for Justin. You know, guys that Justin can get the ball to. We're very excited about that.
Not much to add. Just fun player to watch. Former quarterback, very smart. Probably one thing I will add, like we get a chance to interview these guys, and he was one of the ones we interviewed at the combine. And he walks in the room, you feel his presence in the room, you know. And I can't say that with everybody, but like just the confidence, the presence, the size. But what really stood out, like, you know, aside from the film, was how smart he was, and you could tell he thinks like a quarterback, and that is such a valuable thing. You know, I think when you think about wide out, all the things they have to process and do out there, you know, I think he's able to carry that over to the position. So, and that's certainly a playmaker.
Yeah. I also want to compliment John Spanos, because Joe and I both were sitting on some pins of, you know, wanting to trade up, and you know, that would have cost us some assets. So, but the amount of drafts that John's been in, the experience that he has, I mean, it was a real calming presence,
Yeah,
and
was.
Appreciate that, John.
Good job, John.
That was big, and so yeah, we're happy. We're very happy. Team got better, we feel.
Joe, how did you predict Trey what he was at?
I'll tell the story. Like the year in 2012, 11, I saw his brother the next day after the first round. We took Jimmy Smith, and I told him, I was like, I think Torrey Smith's going to be there. And Torrey was a guy we had up there on our board. Like, obviously we had Jimmy, but he's in that range of, like, you know, no chance he's going to be there. And I just a gut call, I guess, you know, just knowing kind of what the league, what the perception was of him. He didn't maybe quite run fast enough, you know, for some people, but you know, I had a gut feeling, and I said something to him yesterday, and I said, I told your brother this years ago, and it happened, and I think it's going to happen again tomorrow. And so that was it, you know, but we were fired up. It happened, though, I can promise you.
How close were you guys to trading up?
We just talked about it, you know, like, hey, do you know, should we, you know, picks getting near us to protect the player, but you also look, you know, hey, the two teams above us had taken wideouts in the first round, so as it got closer and closer, and that's where John was really coming in, like, hey guys, you're going to get him. You're going to get him. Just be patient. And we were, and we got him.
I think, and he was right too. I mean, there was just it was a good window. There was enough good players there that we really liked on offense, on defense, and it was just his experience. I mean, that was that patience. It paid off, and we didn't end up giving up assets later in the draft. That's a good feeling.
Think about the guys, players you picked today, Trey, are there plays that stand out to you when you watch them that come to your mind immediately when you think of them?
Players that we picked today?
Yeah, are there plays that jump out to you in your mind when you think about them?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because with Trey, when they kept showing Jackson Dart highlights yesterday, it's like, oh my God, he's in every one of these highlights. It's like, stop showing Jackson Dart highlights. So, so all those plays stood out in my mind, yesterday and today. But no, you see so much of, the vertical plays, the big plays, the run after catch, working off of contact, the physicality he plays with. And then same thing with Jamaree. I mean, I saw Jamaree play twice this year, once versus Michigan in Ann Arbor and then the Rose Bowl. And just some of the plays, and when you're watching film of him, when you just see him just toss bodies, it's really impressive. He does a really good job playing square, physical, strikes with his hands. He's got feel, and he's a big man, quick feet. Like that's what when you think about the players, what do you think about? What do you envision? That's what you see when you're not watching film. The plays that roll through your head. Man, his foot quickness is so good, and his ability to just tear off blocks and hard to move off the point.
I mean, I think I don't know what. I think we're one of the bigger defensive lines now in the NFL, and just everybody's excited about that, and they were also right on TV. I mean, Derek Harmon's a great player, and then you're watching and you go, wait, this other guy here is really good too. I mean, they're both really good, and excited to have the athleticism of, I think it's unique that Jamaree Caldwell has, and the strength and power. Say the same for Trey Harris. The athleticism, also strength and power and toughness, and Amarian. I mean, that is, you saw him. He's strength, power, speed, agility. I mean, we're pretty fired up. Good job, Joe.
With Jamaree, he played more like 3-tech penetrating type role at Houston, more of like a zero nose guy at Oregon.
Right.
Do you see him being able to play either? Would you prefer him in a specific role, one of those two roles for you guys?
Well, I think he can play both, and that's a great thing about him.
Yeah.
He had more sack production in Houston when he was penetrating, and you see the feet, and you see the agility, you see that burst when he was playing that role. So we do think there's some untapped pass rush potential with him, and then certainly the way he played at Oregon, playing the two gap in, always reading his nameplate, staying square, tough to move. So that versatility is something you really like, and it's what jumped out to our scouts and our coaches. Mike Elston came into my office, like Coach
One of
said,
Mike's favorite guys.
and Mike, when you're watching Derek Harmon, Mike came in, he's like, nose tackle, I'm like, yeah, he's a guy too, and so it's the guy you get excited about when you watch.
Yeah, and just for what you're saying too is it's that versatility that you both talked about is great. I mean, because when you're in base, he can play nose, and then when you're in the nickel front, I mean, he needs to be a 3. That's and he can do it from a shade, provide that run-stopping ability, plus that pass rush that makes that defensive tackle a 3-down player.
Do you think a lot of teams went through a similar process with Jamaree, where they were watching Harmon and ended up noticing him?
No. I mean, and I say that like just you assign the coaches players to look at, and so we typically assign them alphabetically, and so you're looking at one, or we assign them by position and nose tackle, D end or 3 tech. And so, so maybe that may have happened, but, in the end, it's like, hey, these are the guys you look at, so.
That was true for me. I mean,
Yeah, and so and especially if you're isolating yourself watching, but you're going down your list and you're watching one guy at a time, which is what you do after the season. During the season, the scout goes in and they're watching everyone on Oregon's defense, so they're grading them all together. But typically, coaches will knock off their list, and so that's what happens. And that happens. It's not just that's what Coach mentioned about the offensive coaches being excited about, because Mike Devlin is watching an offensive lineman against Oregon, and he's like, man, this nose tackles, so he knows them, so.
just so many, and there's so many good players.
Yeah.
There's just so many good players. Derek Harmon, someone, I guess we don't talk about other players, that other teams have drafted, or talk about our own guys, but great player. There's a lot of really, really good players, and we're fired up. We got, 3 so far, and back to work tomorrow.
So you mentioned yesterday kind of these COVID players that use their 5th year. Trey was one of them.
Yeah.
How have you seen those guys really kind of develop, and how much of an advantageous position is that for them, just having that one extra year of college
Yeah.
to get them ready to come into the league?
I think it's really paid off for a lot of guys, and it's been a positive, really. I think for a lot of players, it's the best way for me to say it. And you just getting that extra year of maturity, those reps, polishing up your game. It helps them elevate their status. And there's some guys that they're ready after 3 years, but we know it. You guys see it. We draft a player, they all develop at different paces, and some guys get that extra year in college, and it really helps them develop and improve their stock, so.
Yeah, I hate to be the one to say it, but and there's another positive for NIL and revenue sharing for college players that, financially they don't have to come out after 3 years, their very first opportunity. And there was a time when there was so many players that were coming out after 3 years that weren't quite ready, not physically ready, not hadn't elevated their game to a point where it cut a lot of careers short. Too many. So it's nothing but a positive that they're getting that kind of experience and elevating their game to the point where now they're really ready to make the step from college to pro.
How nervous were you that Trey was going to go? It sounds like you were stressed.
No, so you go into every round, every day with a list, and you have, and what we always do is here's the cut line, and so just like yesterday, it's every day, it's every year. You hope that one of these guys fall to you, and but the good thing was we had other players, and that's where John really came in. Like, hey, we got a handful of guys we still like, so don't panic. If you lose one, we got another guy we can take that we're excited about. So, but I was probably most nervous because I told him yesterday, hey, he's going to be there. I wanted to be right for that, but I wasn't. I felt good, but there's always a chance. That's the draft. Like every year, players get taken, that you'd love to pick. Some get picked right before you pick. Some get picked 20 picks before you pick. But they still get taken. So you just have to have your order, feel confident in it, and then take the best guy when you're up.
So you guys were talking about it. John just talked you off the.
No,
He gave us. It was very calming.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what do you think? Casual conversation. Do we consider going up? And John's like,
And
remember.
probably what people don't know is John is in every draft meeting.
Yeah.
He's watching all the tape on all the guys. I don't know other owners that do that, but John does, because that's the way he came up. He came up as a scout.
Yeah.
And so he knew that there was other good players that were there, and that experience. I just really appreciate it, because it worked out. It worked out like he predicted it would.
And it's great because he just, hey, trust your instinct, like, just trust it. You know, you felt like he was gonna be there. Yeah. Well,
No, there's nothing more.
not losing it in there, yeah. Yeah.
It was just, it was an example of really good leadership,
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
With Trey and his contested catchability and the ball lane, what do you think that's going to add to the offense and for Justin?
I think it'll be a positive. You know, I mean, he's a big physical guy with radius and strength and body control. So, yeah, I think it'll be good.
And then just like the route tree that he ran at Ole Miss, is there any projection at all as far as going to the NFL and broadening that route tree at all?
I think when you watch any wideout, you know, some wideouts run a full route tree, some maybe not. You look at the athlete. You look at the athlete. Can he drop his weight? Can he get in and out of breaks? Body control, suddenness. Whether they run every route, and they normally will run almost every route at some point. But you just watch him, and yep, he can come out of the cut. He can work back down. He can separate at the top. You know, whether they do it all the time, whether it's a heavy dose of a certain type of routes, you just watch the athlete. And so, you know, I have confidence that he can run every route.